Long story short, like most Mythic Legion action figures by the Four Horsemen, this figure looks fantastic and it actually has a lot of newly sculpted parts, specifically for this character. I mean, later Mythic Legion waves have demons and creatures that incorporate some of these parts, obviously, but when this was released, these were brand new parts. But unfortunately, this also have the same problem most Mythic Legion figures back then have, which means it's not as articulated as it should be, especially for Sun Wukong. I mean, Sun Wukong is a monkey character, known for agility and dexterity and jumping around and getting into all kinds of fighting poses. And unfortunately, when you get, especially when you dress this figure up in full armor, you cannot even get his arm above his head. He's kind of stuck with his arms down, limited by his shoulder pauldron, which is really a shame. So some people say, why don't you leave the shoulder armor off? Well, because when you leave the shoulder armor off, the character looks stupid, and the neck looks too long, and things just don't look proper. And those shoulder pauldrons are so gorgeous, like the Chinese motifs and his shoulder armor and leg armor are so good, it's a shame not to use them. His tail also tend to fall off rather easy and his hips are a bit loose. So here we have this Sun Wukong from the Four Horsemen. This is the Golden Sage version. Now, there is a reason for the Golden Sage title. During his rebellion, when he found out that the Jade Emperor gave him a really insulting title, Sun Wukong decided to give himself a title. He's like, okay, F you. You want to insult me? You want to give me a lousy title? I'm going to call myself the Great Sage equal to heaven. Yeah, that's literally his title, the title he gave him to himself. Great sage equal to heaven. They're like in your face, really in your face kind of response to the Jade Emperor. Okay, so that is what this version is portraying. Now, uh, I already talked a little bit about the figure during the posing photos. So I'm not going to repeat a lot of that stuff. But I want to first say, I want to first give my apology to the Four Horsemen because when I first got this figure, I was very, very, very critical about this figure and its design. Okay, because first the armor. When I first got this figure, I was like, what the heck? This is like, why would Sun Wukong even need armor? This is stupid. Like Sun Wukong in my memory never wore armor like this, right? Because in my memory, Sun Wukong is on his way to the west with his uh, monk, with the master monk Tang Sanzang. Now, after being trapped under the mountain for 500 years, and then being rescued by the monk, and then traveling with the monk, Sun Wukong did not look like this. He's like really skinny, really wasted, and he wears like a garment made out of the skin of a tiger that he killed. Okay, so that's the look I was familiar with. So when I first got this figure, I was like, what the hell? He doesn't look this is not Sun Wukong. This Sun Wukong doesn't look like this. And it wasn't until when I went back to researching and refreshing my memory about the Journey West, I realized no. They if they were doing the Golden Sage, which is when he's doing his rebellion against heaven, this is the right look, right? They're not doing the journey to the west version. They're not doing the traveler Sun Wukong. They're doing Sun Wukong at his best. This is Sun Wukong at the top of his game, not the Sun Wukong after being trapped under the mountain for 500 years. So let's look at what he got here. Okay, first we have of course the golden rod. the pillar that he pilfered from the Dragon King in his hand here. Now, I do have one complaint. Excuse the hand. Uh, I do have one complaint about the golden rod here. I feel that unlike other uh, figure obscura figures, this figure did not come with a diorama or big display piece. So I feel that value-wise, this figure is kind of lacking. So I think that the Four Horsemen should have given us different lengths of the golden rod, the different configuration, because the golden rod, the special power is that it can grow to as tall as reaching up all the way to heaven, and it can get as small as a needle. Okay, so yeah, obviously we don't want it that small. On an action figure, you would definitely lose that. But I think if we can get several sections that can attach together to make a really big one, and then a few uh, sections that look like it's really small, that would be nice, right? We know they can do that. We know that on those ogre scale weapons, they can make them longer or shorter, just depending on how many pieces you snap together. They totally could have done it with the golden rod. So I feel that as far as the golden rod, we got shortchanged here. Now the head I have on this figure, the phoenix feather. This is obviously the phoenix crown that he pilfered from the Dragon King, and then on his body we have the golden battle armor, also from the Dragon King. Here's another thing. Okay, these cloud walking shoes. When this is another thing that I bitched loudly about when I first got the figure because I totally didn't remember these shoes because he didn't wear them very much. It was part of his battle outfit, but I mean, come on, the guy can do a somersault and travel 100 miles. Like, why would he need cloud walking shoes, right? So when I realized that this figure came with these shoes, I was like, that's stupid. Are they thinking about Dragon Ball? Like no, I don't remember Sun Wukong ever had these shoes. But no, again, I was wrong and they're right because when you go back to the original text, the outfit he's pilfered from the Dragon King was the Phoenix crown, the golden armor, and cloud walking shoes. Yeah, yeah. So he did, he did have them. He just didn't wear them for very long. And after he got rescued from under the mountain, he didn't have them anymore. Don't know what happened to them, but anyway. So those are some of my biggest criticism, and I'm willing to admit that I was wrong. Um, Another criticism I have that I will also admit I was wrong was the size of the figure. Okay, this figure is basically regular size, regular Mythic Legion size, which means he's almost 7 inches tall. And that was a big complaint I had. It's like it's too big. Like Sun Wukong is supposed to be like 3 or 4 feet tall, so this is way too big. This is never proper. This is not proper Sun Wukong. But again, if you look at the original text, he did it many times where he made himself grow bigger, right? Just to look more impressive. Or sometimes he's fighting bigger opponents and he would use his transformation power to make himself grow bigger. In fact, uh, one of the earliest battle on his journey to the west with the monk Tang Sanzang, when they fought, I think it was a black bear demon. One of the first demons they encountered was a black bear demon, and the black bear demon laughed at Sun Wukong for being so short, and Sun Wukong played a prank on the black bear demon, and he said, "Yeah, I look short, but I have a special ability that every time you hit me, I'll grow taller." And the black bear demon said, "Bullshit." So he smacked Sun Wukong, and Sun Wukong used his transformation power and made himself grow to about 7 feet tall. And the bear demon was really impressed. Like, holy shit, he's it's true. So I don't want to hit him. Every time I hit him, he's going to grow bigger. So so we can't even say that Four Horsemen did this wrong because uh, there's definitely times in the story where Sun Wukong made himself grow up to normal human size. So those are some of my earlier chief complaints that I'm going to just admit that. Oop, I didn't realize the camera went wonky there. Sorry. My ring light is a little bit top heavy, so it tilts the camera sometimes. Um, so those are some of my earlier chief complaints with Sun Wukong that after doing research, now I feel a lot better about this figure's accuracy. Now, that does not mean that there's no more complaint. Like I said, the golden rod, that's definitely something I still complain about, that they should have given us more pieces. Another thing that is a big sore point with me about this figure is that articulation really sucks. Like with these shoulder armors are beautiful. This shoulder armor, they're gorgeous. But with these on, his arm can't even go up. There's no way. Like I don't know how is it that Four Horsemen been doing figures for over 10 years and have not come to realize that don't secure the armor on their back, secure it to the back of their arm. Come on, like this every time you give us big ornate armor like this, they can't move. It's stupid. Okay, like 10 years in making Mythic Legion, that should have been fixed. Like Savage Crucible from Harbinger Studio, they make like they their figure never have this problem. Okay, they have the same kind of armor design, they have the same kind of uh, outfit, but their figure never have this kind of problem. Chinese figures by Berserker Studios, those like Hades and Zeus, those figures, they have similar kind of armor structure. They never have this kind of problem. Okay, so come on, like change that armor problem already. Fix that already. Especially on a monkey character like Sun Wukong, this is really annoying because he's supposed to be able to get into all kind of cool poses, but he can't. Another big issue I have with this figure is even though most of these pieces, these armor pieces, are removable, like you pull off his head, you can get rid of this scarf piece, this there's a prayer bead, uh, and the armor under there. You can get rid of those, and then if you pull him apart at the waist, you get rid of these belt, the loincloth pieces. So at first, on paper, it looked like, oh, cool. So we can get ourselves like a normal looking, like a normal monkey Sun Wukong. You can't. Okay. First, because the leg armor and the arm, the bracers, they, as far as I can tell, they don't come off. So even if you strip away his neck armor and waist armor, he's still got armor on his arms and armor on his legs. So it's not going to work. And also, when you take away those armor pieces, it leaves really big gap on his neck, really big gap on his waist. So what's the point of making them removable when he looks awful when you remove him? Well, I guess the point of making them removable is because, like Mythic Legion, these figures are supposed to be modular and for you to mix and match with other figures and take them apart and mix the parts and stuff like that. But I'm just saying, like, if you are buying this thinking that, oh, cool, if I remove his armor, we'll get a different look. No, it's not going to work because when you remove those armors, there's a lot of weird looking gaps on his neck and his waist. So those are my chief complaints that are still unresolved. And honestly, for a figure like this that is almost, I can't remember, he's like $70, $65, that's quite a problem. Okay, for 65, $70, you're buying a figure that is shortchanged on his weapon, doesn't have any special effect or special diorama pieces. Um, Articulation is a problem, and then you don't have a lot of different look you can do by removing his armor. Like it's a figure that just basically look good when you put him together, and then there's not much more you can do with him. Anyway, even with all that complaint, I will say I am very happy to see more Chinese and Asian representation uh, in characters and selections by the Four Horsemen studio. Uh, this was why I got this figure. I knew this figure was going to have problem articulating because I knew Mythic Legion, but come on, he's a Chinese heroic fictional hero. I have to have him. So I'm glad that I got him. He could have been a lot better, but hey, just the fact that they included him in the figura obscura is a big step in the right direction. Thank you for checking out today's episode. We'll look at some size comparison shot as I give you my final words. For now, 谢谢 and 再见. In the end, it pains me to say that as much as I love Four Horsemen action figures normally, I wouldn't call this a success. As a character, Sun Wukong doesn't pose very good, and he doesn't come with any of the really cool diorama pieces like a lot of the other figura obscuras do. So you're paying like the same price, and you're not getting a lot out of it, unfortunately. Um, if you do want a good Sun Wukong figure, there's so many other Chinese companies like In Art and Noda Toys making Sun Wukong that are way better. They're also more expensive, so as ridiculous as it's going to sound, if you want yourself a budget line basic, just look good but won't pose Sun Wukong, then get the Four Horsemen one. But if you really want a good Sun Wukong, then it's worthwhile to just shell out another $40-50 and get it from one of the other Chinese companies.